As protests rage on, fears around fuel shortages continue. People in Clare have been flocking to service stations to fill up their vehicles while they can. Garages across the county are seeing long queues, with some running out of petrol and diesel at times due to excessive demand. Despite this, fuel deliveries to stations continue. Clare FM's Seán Lyons has been speaking to Caroline and Amber Ryan of O'Sullivan Hansbury's Mace in Ennis about the ongoing crisis. But firstly, he spoke to some of the people fueling up their cars about how rising prices are affecting them.
Well, sure, everything costs a lot more. Fuel drives everything else up. Well, hopefully they'll get something sorted out sooner rather than later.
What line of work are you in yourself?
I'm agriculture, farmer.
And is it affecting you in your business?
Well, I have to get fuel, don't I, for tractor, for car, for everything.
Do you support the protests going on this week?
To a point, yes, but it's affecting the normal Joe Soap, which is wrong in my opinion. Because the government need to wake up, not the normal Joe Soap.
Would you be able to tell me how the cost of fuel is affecting you?
Well, as you see, I'm driving a Jeep and trailer, and they're pretty heavy on fuel. So I noticed this morning some of the garages are running out of diesel, yes.
And seeing this amount of congestion at a garage this morning, it's unusual, is it?
Yes, very unusual, yes.
When you see the protests taking place around the country, do you think that they're necessary? Do you support them?
Well, I suppose in light of the fuel prices going up, but the government should act. The government should know without people having to go protesting that the effect that the high price of diesel and fuel is having in the country, yes.
You'd like to see some tax reductions or some caps?
Oh God, yes. I think it should be evident to the government that they need to do something quickly.
I wonder, would you be able to tell me how the rising cost of fuel is affecting you?
With everything, like with driving just to work, moving cattle, everything is just crazy. It's just crazy.
You're a farmer yourself and it's affecting you in that way?
Oh yeah, even moving cattle to the market now, it's just crazy, you know. €68 to fill up a quarter of a Jeep. It's mental. Just absolutely mental.
And seeing this level of busyness at a garage, like it highlights the problem.
Yeah, you can't even get in or out, like, so it's just stupid. So the government should just wake up a small bit.
What would you like to see the government do?
Just if they just knocked off the levies off the price of diesel, do you know.
You're probably watching the protests during the week. Do you have sympathy with the protesters?
I have sympathy with the protesters, but you know, fair is fair. People have to go to work too. Do you know, people have to go to work and they have meetings and everything to go to. So one sense is wrong, other sense is right.
Might be another way of going about it.
Yeah, there might be another way of going about it, but they can't be blocking motorways for ambulance or fire brigades or stuff like that. You know, it's just stupid, so.
And they're due to be protesting now until Saturday. Would you be hopeful that they might arrive at some sort of resolution from this?
Yeah, that's if the government come back and go into the doll, so if they don't come back, there'll be nothing out of it.
Would you have anything to say on the rising cost of fuel?
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy, yeah. Like, we have to go to Galway tomorrow, and I thought, like, I won't get there's someone beeping at me not to go.
It's pretty hectic here this morning.
Very hectic here this morning now, and he said he's running low, so yes.
Caroline Ryan of O'Sullivan Hansbury's Mace here on the Kilrush Road. Thanks very much for speaking with me today. You're the owner-manager of this garage. Has there been a noticeable change in consumer behaviour, I suppose, at the pumps here at the garage?
Yeah, there has. Of course, people are afraid of running out of fuel, so naturally there's a lot of tailbacks here for people getting fuel, and people are, I suppose, scared about the whole process. So that's making our garage a lot busier at the moment. I don't think they should be afraid because there seems to be enough fuel at the moment.
Would you be concerned at all? Obviously there are factors outside our control, and we have to remember that this all stemmed from events in the Middle East, which again are beyond the control of ourselves or even beyond the control of the Irish government. But given how unstable that situation is, do we really know how reliable our fuel supply is here on the ground?
Well, no, not really, I suppose, given the current crisis. It's at the moment, it's the protests that people are afraid of not getting fuel because of the protests, because the trucks are being stopped. So I'd say that's why it's so busy this week.
On those protests, we're seeing main routes around the country blocked up, including the M18 and N18 here, as well as arteries of the county town and other busy routes around County Clare. Would you be generally supportive of the protests? Do you understand the justification for them, or what would your perspective be on that?
Yeah, I do support it. I don't know if I support the method of how they're doing it. I don't know if there's another way to do it, but the government need to wake up, all right, and not just on the tax of the fuel, but on a lot of taxes, businesses are struggling. ESB is going to be going up again, I presume. And wages have gone up. They've brought in a new pension plan. That's all expense to businesses at the moment. Rates have gone up. It's not just fuel. Businesses are hit in a lot of different ways outside of the fuel crisis. And stopping customers from getting fuel and stuff, I don't know if I agree with it. As I said, holding up the whole country by blockades, I don't know if I agree with that. But I do support them.
And just bringing in Amber, Ryan, you're the manager in the shop and the garage here. This has been compared to the war in Ukraine in many ways, in that it's the last time that we saw such a crisis in fuel and fuel prices. Have you seen anything like it while you've been involved in this business?
I haven't really seen much, to be honest, but there is, the customers are panicking. This morning when we had to shut off the petrol pumps, you could see the panic on their faces. But it's fine now because we got a delivery. But that kind of fear that you won't be able to get it hop in your car, I suppose.
A great relief to see the truck pull up as we're having this conversation. But running out of fuel, having to put up a sign saying no petrol in this instance, and other garages running out of diesel as well across the county. Is that something that you've had to do before? How common would that be?
No, we've never had to do that before. Not in my time anyways.
And going back to yourself, Caroline, not in Amber's time, but in your time, have you had to do that?
I think there's, now I don't remember it that well, but I do think it was there before where we had to ration the fuel. So people were only allowed to get, whatever, say £10 at the time, maybe, it wasn't euros. So will it go back to that? Possibly, if the crisis doesn't end with America and stuff. If they don't, we could possibly ration the fuel. So that could happen again.
Not a situation you'd like to be in. Obviously, the government engaging with representative groups this week, as well as the protesters calling for particular measures. What do you think the government should do to meaningfully address this crisis? Because I understand you've said that in some ways it's overhyped, but there is obviously a serious concern. And as we said at the outset, there's instability. We don't know what way the conflict is going to unfold. So what measures would you like to see brought in at a government level?
Well, they definitely need to take the tax off the fuel for the moment. That will help the haulage and the farmers. And I think maybe then sit down and draw up a plan for the next couple of months to see what they can do to help businesses and home. I mean, there's people that have to drive to work as well, so it's affecting them as well. There's people that their job is on the road, so their fuel is not costing any less, it's costing the same. So I think maybe sit down and come up with a plan. But at the moment, to ease the pressure, they should just deduct the tax off the fuel and bring it down a little bit.
And in the meantime, should the protests continue?
I would hope not. I would hope the government see a way out of this or doing something.
Do you think it's up to the government to end the protests?
I think they should sit down around the table and just try and discuss it, because at the moment they're holding up the whole country.
So there you go. That woman speaking with Sean Lyons believes that they're holding up the whole country. Do you agree, though? Do you feel that the protests need to come to an end? But are you putting more onus on the protesters themselves or on the government to react? We know that the government are meeting representative bodies today. Minister Helen McEntee, Minister for Defence, saying that they'll be meeting around 7 associations. She says that these 7 representative bodies are ones that the government have been engaging with over the last number of weeks, since the end of February. They've been meeting with different ministers. Of course, we're hearing the government will be meeting with some of the protesters, then some others saying that they won't be, that they're unclear. Even some of the protesters themselves are unclear about the details in terms of whether or not there will be some representative of the protesters meeting the government. It seems to be confusion nationally on that. Hopefully we'll get a bit of clarity throughout the course of the show.